Pardon me, Morty Vicar. Hey YouTube, X52708 here, and welcome to part 5 of my 500 subs Q&A video. I think so far I've managed, where are we? Just coming up to 1.5 pages of questions across 4 videos, so got another 6.5 pages to go, guys, so this is going to run into quite a few parts. But we'll crack on anyway, guys, and next lot of questions is from BlueGamer94, so thanks very much for posting those, matey. First question, what is your favourite game on the PlayStation 3 so far? That's quite an easy one, because now I'm focusing on completing games before I move on to the next ones. I've only actually played 2 games so far. The first one being the original Resistance. I think I'm probably 70% through that game now, something like that, so that's well underway. Absolutely loving that game so far, really good. And the other one is Modern Warfare 2, which I had to buy last week when it came out on release. Managed to complete the single player campaign in, I think, 9 hours it was. So I'm just playing the special ops missions now, and then I'll be moving on to the online play. So after that I've probably got about another 7, I think, PlayStation 3 games to play through. So probably after those 2 are completed, I'll be looking at moving on to a game called Dead Space, which I've seen some gameplay footage for and really looking forward to playing that one. So Resistance and Modern Warfare 2 is the answer. Question 2, guys. Who is your favourite video game character? Without a doubt, Sonic. Everybody knows I'm a big Sega fan, although I do enjoy Nintendo since I've discovered Nintendo, since I got back into retro gaming. But for Sonic, for me, Sonic has always been my favourite video game character by a long way. So can't really say why. You know, he just embodies everything about Sega. Such a cult character for me, growing up as a kid, with playing the consoles, the Sega Saturn, the Sega Mega Drive, the Sega Game Gear, and I've had Sonic across all of the consoles that I've had in the past. So for me, Sonic wins hands down. Question 3: if your house burnt down, not saying it in a mean way, would you start your collection again? And if so, where would you start? If something like that did unfortunately happen, I would carry on retro gaming, but I don't think I would re-establish my target of a full Mega Drive collection. I think I'm so far into the collection now, you know, nearing 200 all bar a couple of games, that it would just be far too disheartening, if you like, the amount of time that I've spent getting hold of the games and the money that I've invested in getting hold of them. Admittedly, I've not brought a lot of the really expensive games, but you know, 200 is a hell of a lot to try and replace on top of the, you know, 600 or so other games across other consoles that I've got. So for me, I wouldn't establish a full Mega Drive collection again, but I would continue retro gaming. So question 4, nice easy one. Your favourite console of all time? I think a few people have answered that, or have asked that already. It's the Sega Mega Drive. Which video game have you brought, thought it was really good, but when you played it, thought it was shit? Probably two that spring to mind. One of them's a console, one of them's a game. First one, I brought the Amstrad GX 4000 on release. I think I ended up buying it through my mum's catalogue, and paying for it on like a weekly basis. And I think you got Burning Rubber with it as the, you know, the free game that they bundled with it. And then I think within several months of me buying the console, it basically flopped and they didn't make anything more for it. And I think I probably only ever ended up having 2 or 3 games for it. I did have it on my list originally when I got back into retro gaming to get hold of it. You know, it looks a nice, you know, funky little console. But after looking at some gameplay footage and remembering how some of the games were, it's really not a console that I'd entertain in my collection unless it was obviously given to me as a freebie. Yeah, that's by far the biggest disappointment of consoles that I've brought. And the game, this is going to be very controversial. I know Ian Wilson and Lefarius are going to knock me for saying this, but the game that's been the biggest disappointment for me was Fallout 3. I am not an RPG fan at all, but I must admit that I did buy the game blindly. I always thought that it was a first-person shooter, you know, from the bits of the footage that I'd seen, when really it's an RPG stroke first-person shooter. And RPGs have never been my cup of tea at all. I'm not into, you know, building character strengths and casting spells and wandering around, you know, interacting with people in you know, cities and things like that. You know, I'm the sort of person that likes to pick a game up and get straight into the action. So for me, Fallout 3 was was disappointing, not because it's a bad game, but because it's not my sort of game. So I think I brought that for the Xbox 360, and I think I had it for about a week and a half, and then I ended up trading it in Grainger Games towards a couple of other games that I wanted for my collection. So Fallout 3, unfortunately, guys. Next, 2 questions are from WSGTTV. So first of all, what's your scariest gaming moment of all time? I probably haven't got one, to be perfectly honest. And it really depends what you mean by scary, as in games that have scared me, or something scary that's, you know, happened in video game history for me, or video game collecting. I mean, I am a big survival horror fan. You know, I love the Resident Evil games, love the Dino Crisis games. I love games like Left 4 Dead, Dead Rising, Dead Space, all those sorts of games, Fear. You know, I love the really scary games where, you know, you can sit and play it in a pitch black room. You know, you can put your headphones on, you can turn the volume right up, and it will scare you shitless. I love those sorts of games. Those games really draw me in. But I can't say there's been any mega scary moments. You know, there's been bits, you know, where things have made me jump and things like that, but nothing that jumps out to say, oh, that was, you know, that scarred me for life, or things like that. Probably the scariest moment will be for me is buying some of these expensive Mega Drive games for my full collection. So I think the most expensive game that I've brought so far is around probably about the £20 mark, something like that. So there's going to be quite a few that are more expensive than that. So for me, that's going to be pretty scary. So that answers that one in a roundabout way. And what's your favourite video game series of all time? Big fan of first-person shooters. So for me, either the Medal of Honor series on PC, or the Call of Duties. So I love my love my war films, love first-person shooters. So combining the two, you know, in the war scenario, really does it for me. Games like Resistance as well, where you're playing in UK cities, but obviously running around as a soldier, you know, picking up all the different weapons and chucking grenades and all that sort of thing. That's really, you know, my sort of game, that is. So for me, if I had to choose a series, then it would be the Call of Duties. So there we go. I think we're running close to 9 minutes now, guys, so I'll pause it there, and I'll be back with you in a few minutes for part 6. So thanks very much for watching, and bye for now.